Hello. Welcome. Welcome. So, when I was 7 years old, I remember reading the Apple IIe manual. And I think I just got to show this because it's kind of hard to really grasp unless you see it. So this is the Apple II reference manual. This has been basically converted to dark mode. But yeah, I just wanted to show a little bit about what's in here. So in the first chapter, you're talking about technicals of how to hook it up and all of that. And then you've got various escape codes and some basic commands for input-output. And then you've got Wasmon, the memory monitor. You've got the memory organization, so the memory map for peripherals and stuff. And then you've got input-output, hardware configuration. You've got the instruction set itself, including how to convert it to hex codes so that you can enter it into Wasmon. And then you've got ROM listings. And then I believe in the very back, it doesn't list it here, but there's even circuit diagrams. Yes, there's circuit diagrams. So yeah, you've got the power supply and stuff like that. And then it goes into ASCII codes and various key codes, ASCII character set and that. You've got basically soft switches, which would be like register locations so that you can switch it into various different graphics modes. You've got memory maps of where each position on the screen is. Like, seriously. Let me see if I can find something else that's pretty awesome. You've got a detailed tutorial on how Wasmon works, like the memory monitor, how to enter it, various different commands you can do, and entering in raw hexadecimal programs. And seriously, I was 7 years old, and I remember looking at this and then booting up the computer and trying to enter in some of this stuff and getting it to do things, and then looking up raw assembly. I was 7, looking up raw assembly in this manual, typing it into the computer and getting the computer to do various different things like beep the speaker and change the graphics mode and all kinds of stuff like that. Like, this is amazing. And I really got to find the circuit diagrams. Here we go. Here we go. See? Complete circuit diagrams, including the buses and what chips were hanging off of the buses. I could see in here what the various different things were hooked into, like the devices and things like that. And I could actually hang an LED off of the bus and turn it on and off in software. And I remember doing this as a kid when I was 7. Okay. Now imagine for a moment what kind of impression that made on a young person about what computers are like. Now I can't even describe the feeling that I had playing around with this and looking through this manual and just trying things and experimenting and learning an enormous amount. Like there's diagrams of how these instructions actually work and diagrams of the registers and hex codes for all of the different addressing modes and stuff like that. I was fascinated. Like, this is incredible. And they don't make things like this anymore. Like, when's the last time you bought something and it had circuit diagrams in the manual? Seriously. I think the 80s was the last time anybody did that. So, let's talk about AI. Here are some things that I've been told, like AI is coming for my job. Okay, sure. I still don't know what to feel about that. learn to leverage AI or you'll be left behind. There are so many YouTube videos and YouTube channels dedicated to this topic right now. It's incredible. And each one seems to be trying to sell this vision that it's useful for real world programming tasks. Maybe it's a skill issue, but every time I've tried this, and I have tried a lot, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't know what they're doing that's so special, but I think the major problem here is that AI lacks experiences. And I know they're working on it, so maybe you're watching this in the future and they've developed some magical way to give AI experiences, but an AI hasn't done the wrong thing and gotten in serious trouble. AI hasn't built an entire thing. Well, it has, but it doesn't remember this the wrong way and learn the hard way through having to rewrite that thing. That's not a good architectural pattern. AI is completely clueless when it comes to these things. Like, it makes the wrong architecture decisions, like completely wrong. It just blindly wanders straight into huge blunders that take a lot of effort to fix, a lot of effort to fix. And this is the future of programming? Really? It's coming for my job? Really? Really? That makes me feel uneasy. If not like downright terrified. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, I don't even know what to think about it. I don't. And here's the thing though, as I use AI, I need it to remember things. It's got all of the like documentation and even to the point of remembering all of the minor syntax things, especially when I'm working on Rust, because Rust has got like pretty arcane syntax sometimes, and I don't always remember. Like, I used to fiddle around with assembly like it used to be in my head. I remember like figuring out how to bit bang VGA modes on my DOS computer when I was a teenager. Like, these are things I used to know how to do. And here's the problem. AI slop is everywhere now. Trying to Google for things is almost an impossible task. You need an AI to help you find anything anymore. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. I've seen videos where people are showing their Google results and being like, look at this craziness, right? So then I watched this video by Struthless, and if you don't watch his content, you are so missing out. He is incredibly on fire these days. And yeah, his videos are so inspiring. And he did a ton of research for this video. I'd recommend you just go watch it right now, because then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But a TLDR, in case you don't want to switch videos or whatever, he's talking about a lot of research going on right now about basically AI rotting your brain and causing people to forget how to do things, causing a loss of skills, essentially. And I don't think you need somebody to tell you that this is happening. Like, you really don't. And I have to say, I'm already seeing this happening, that we're not training up junior engineers anymore. What happens when all of the senior engineers retire out, or whatever the case may be, right? Like, if we're not training up the next generation, people aren't going to know how to do any of this stuff. And we're going to be increasingly reliant on AI to know how to even write software in the first place. what happens when AI is writing all of the software, including its own software, and we have no idea how any of it works, or how to troubleshoot it, or how to do anything with it. Like, deep technical knowledge could very well become extinct. And that's a scary thought. Because what if the AI bubble pops and companies go bankrupt that have these big AI models that we're reliant on? Maybe that might be not super likely because, Google's going to survive the AI apocalypse. No problem, right? But what if laws change and you can't use AI anymore? For whatever reason, it could be like copyright something, or it could be some concerned something, And I suppose you could run AI locally, but like the good AI is too big to run locally. It's expensive to buy the hardware required. Or say AI goes off the rails and we have to shut it down. I think that's probably unlikely, but who knows? I can't predict the future. Or say something else that we can't predict at all, like a solar flare hits the earth and wipes out all of our computers or something crazy like that. It's even less likely, but all of these things are reasons that we should be trying to preserve our ability to do this stuff. So the more I think about it, the more I would rather work on the solution. I've been writing software since I was 7 years old, inspired by that Apple IIe manual that is just incredible. And I do feel like there's knowledge stuck in my head that it would be really helpful to try and get out somehow. Now, I don't have to be the one that does it. If I'm part of the solution, that would be great. I would love to do that. And I want to share that feeling from the Apple II manual when I was a kid. I mean, I can't even describe the feeling. I know I've been looking for it ever since. And that's part of the reason why I build CPUs. Part of the reason why I like fiddling around with FPGAs and stuff like that. I want to share that feeling however I can. And it's hard for me to do that because I can't even articulate what that feeling is. But anybody that's really been deep in a computer that they feel like they can understand fully. The Apple IIe, it had circuit diagrams. You could know what every little bit flowing through those wires does. It's incredible. And I'd like to try and do something that captures that feeling somehow, whatever that might be. Now, I want to be frank about my current situation. I have been having various issues trying to work a regular 9-to-5 job right now. I don't really want to get into too many details right in public, but let's just say that part of it is burnout. Part of it is just like trying to figure out what to do with my childhood. I mean, there was a reason why I started getting into computers when I was 7 years old, put it that way. And I don't really want to elaborate on that, but let's just say it was to escape some things happening in my life. And yeah, like midlife crisis, maybe. I don't know. But the one thing that I do know is that I haven't been having too much difficulty working on what I'm about to show you. This problem that I'm telling you about. That seems like I have plenty of motivation to do that and not so much motivation to try and earn a regular income for some bizarre reason. But yeah, I've been working on this, whether I like it or not, unfortunately, whether it's a wise decision to be spending my time on this or not. So yeah, hence this video, because, I kind of got to do something about that. So what have I been working on? Well, I figured out a super simple stack machine instruction set architecture. Yeah, I know. But it is coming together quite well. A lot of extra thought on trying to simplify it to make it as simple as possible is really paying off. And I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest. I've worked on in the past a video display processor. So then that can be combined somehow, I think, to make things a little bit more fun and interesting. So I had the idea the other day, why don't I just smash these two things together and make a fantasy console? But like a fantasy console that's geared towards that feeling, right? Like something that's got an in-depth technical manual that describes every detail of how it works and has a integrated debugger where you can like step through the program and see what's going on in the computer and what bits are going where and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess one question is, why a stack machine? Why not a RISC-V processor or something like that? Well, the nice thing about a stack machine is a compiler is extremely simple. You don't need register allocation. Heck, you could probably skip most of the stages. You could go straight from parsing the language to generating assembly code, essentially. Like you don't even need an abstract syntax tree unless you wanted to do type checking and stuff like that. So it just lowers the bar a lot to just be able to build assembly code very easily for expressions. And then the hardware is fairly simple. There's a little bit of complexity around like pushing and popping things off the stack. So I'm not going to say it's way simpler than a register machine, but there's a lot of things that are a lot simpler about it. Another interesting thing is the instruction set architecture could work equally well as either 16-bit or 32-bit. So if you wanted a 32-bit machine, I don't plan on working on that because I think a fantasy console kind of needs to be 16-bit in my personal opinion. But if you did want it to be 32-bit for whatever reason, you could fork it and make it 32-bit pretty easily, actually. And the neat thing about the instruction set that I came up with is that it's progressive complexity. Like there's a minimal implementation that works fully, that'll run any program. It's just a little bit slower, and I'll show you what that means. Actually, I'm going to show you the instruction set that I came up with because I'm proud of it. These are the instruction formats. So every instruction is 8 bits wide. 2 of those instructions are for immediates, and then the rest is just opcodes for various different instructions. Now, the interesting thing is that the first 25 instructions are the ones that you need to implement for the processor. So that would be things like conditional branches to make it Turing complete, stack manipulation operations, a handful of ALU operations, along with funnel shift so that left and right shifting can be efficiently implemented without having to shift one bit at a time. And then you've got moving in and out of registers, CSRs, and loading in and saving to the frame stack. So it's a dual stack architecture, a data stack, and what I'm calling the frame stack, where local variables would be stored. So you have quick access to that. And then all of the rest of these instructions are optional. They don't have to be implemented in the hardware, including shifting left and right, because these can be implemented in terms of a funnel shift instruction. But not only that, the funnel shift instruction is 32 bits. So because it can do 32 bits at a time, then you have efficient 32-bit multiple precision shifts, essentially. And then you've got loading and storing bytes and half words. I mean, these are the same as the word instructions in a 16-bit processor, but I put them in there because there was room, and that allows this to be 32-bit if you wanted. But yeah, you don't have to deal with bytes in the hardware if you don't want to. It can be emulated in software. So that reduces a lot of complexity as well. And yeah, there's space in here for more instructions if necessary. So yeah, it's a neat architecture in that just 25 instructions. So basically a minimal instruction set computer, and you've got most of what you need, and then you can emulate the rest, which is nice. So yeah, that's what I've been working on so far. This is all subject to change. I've refactored this manual a lot as I've thought about it more, and so it will probably continue to change quite a bit. But yeah, Fantasy Console, I think this would be very interesting as like a teaching tool. So it would have a standalone desktop app. It would have a WebAssembly web app to it, sound and video, so you could make games if you wanted to. And most importantly, it would have a full front panel / debugger type thing where you can inspect the state of both stacks, all of the registers, see a disassembly of the current program and all of that, as well as a description of what instruction is currently being executed and what all that instruction changes. So there'll be like highlighting of what values are being read and which values are being written, and like highlighting of what's changed and things like that. And then, of course, a bunch of learning materials to go along with it. So I'd like to have an Apple IIe style reference manual with circuit diagrams if I can, and instruction listings and how the monitor works, the OS, the processor itself, how to enter in hex codes and see it do things, that sort of thing. So there are 3 ways I could fund this mission, so to speak. Option 1 is just to use YouTube ad revenue. The issue with that is it currently pays me $14 a month. I don't live anywhere near a part of the world where that could pay my bills, and I don't plan to move. So yeah, there's that. And on top of that, I haven't been uploading enough videos, so they're now gonna demonetize me. I don't know if this video will make any difference to that. So yeah, and then it's quite the hassle to even qualify for this in the first place, only to find out that they're going to pay you pennies for it. It's kind of a letdown. So yeah, it would take years to become profitable. And then my niche is too niche. I don't think that'll ever happen, to be honest. I'm not terribly interested in being famous, to be honest. And my sense of justice doesn't allow me to just produce content for the views. I'm sorry, but I burn out almost immediately, and I can't do it. I mean, I haven't tried too much or too seriously, but I don't think this is for me. So what are my other options? Well, I could sell this Fantasy Console on Steam. The Apple IIe was sold. I suppose I could do that. I could even potentially make it into real hardware with an FPGA on it and sell that. So that's a possibility, you know. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's doable. I suppose if all else fails, I could go this. So selling on Steam, that's a lot of work. There's a lot of marketing and stuff like that you need to do in order for it to work. But the biggest problem I have with this is that I feel like if the source isn't there and it's not free, then it's just going to be niche, always going to be niche. Like you can see this with TIC 80 versus Pico 8. There's a certain amount of popularity of Pico 8, but because Pico 8 is closed source and they're trying to make money off of it, it's not as popular as TIC 80, I feel like. I mean, maybe that's just a price that you got to pay. But then there's also, if I don't finish it, I get nothing. I'm already dealing with burnout. I don't know if I want this extra pressure that I have to finish it. And not only that, but I got to have the savings to get there in the end, right? I could do early access, I suppose. It doesn't really feel like this is the right option for me. And then on top of that, there's parts I don't know how to build. And yeah, I guess I could partner with somebody else and share the profits or something like that. I just don't know if we'd sell enough to make that viable. And yeah, so there's issues. And then there's going to be a lot of people that just won't buy it. If it costs money, it's just too expensive and they just won't buy it. Either they're kids, and I was a kid. I was 7 years old when I looked at the Apple IIe, and that was an expensive computer back then. And it's only because my dad had the money to buy something like that. And most of the people I knew didn't. Right? So option 3 would be just make it open source. Just make it open source everything, and build free learning materials, manual circuit diagrams, documentation, the whole 9 yards. And I would explicitly allow commercial use for the learning materials. So if you wanted to teach a course using the Fantasy console, you would completely be allowed to. You could develop learning materials, teach it in university, whatever. Doesn't matter. I would just ask that you would consider donating some of the profits. But I wouldn't require it. It would just be a friendly reminder that somebody's trying to make a living off of this thing. I mean, I need money to pay bills and feed my family. Like, it is what it is. I wish I could get grant money for something like this. And maybe in the EU I could, because the demo scene is big there. It's considered a cultural thing, and there is grant money available for that. I could see this processor being really good for size coding, like really good. So yeah, you can do a lot with just a few bytes of instructions. But unfortunately, where I live, there's no such grants or anything like that. So I'd like you to consider partnering with me on this mission of sharing that feeling. Like, I can't even explain. Like, I don't know what the words are for this thing, but I want you to consider partnering with me in it. So what would you get? I wish I could just say that you just get the knowledge that you're helping people to discover that feeling, whatever it is. But I'm willing to do some things to provide perks for people that want to partner with me. So one of them would be early access to videos and early access to the Fantasy console itself. So I'd probably do something like have a private repo where the development actually occurs, and then I would sync it with a public repo only occasionally. So then you would get the bleeding edge if you contributed, but I would eventually release it completely open source, just with a bit of a time delay, but something like that. I might do the odd unedited build video, potentially even like just live with Discord in the background, and people can talk to me and ask me questions and stuff like that. And I would put those up on Patreon or Ko-fi or whatever. Regular progress updates on YouTube. So I would keep you informed of what's happening, what am I working on, that sort of thing. And then super transparent with donations and where the money's going. I mean, I'm not going to give you how much I'm spending on food and stuff like that, but you would know I shared this much with this contributor or whatever the case may be, that sort of thing. Because if I make more than I need, I would much rather share that with the community. There's certain projects that are absolutely pivotal, in my personal opinion. Projects like custom ASM, for example, or digital, that I would absolutely love to support some way if I could. So yeah. And then maybe there's other perks. I don't know. I'm open to other things that I could do. Just let me know. I don't know. So I want to clarify something. Donations support the mission. That's what it supports. Not the project, and not videos because, I generally don't finish projects. I'd really like to finish this project, and I'm hoping that I've got the energy and the ability to finish it. But if it's open source, then other people can finish it. If I only get 30% of the way there or 80% of the way there, people can come along and contribute. So that's another reason to make it open source. But I do learn from every project. I may not finish them, but I do learn. I learn a lot. Like if I showed you my projects folder, I have literally hundreds of things that I've started and never completed. But you know what? I know exactly what I learned from every single one of those. So I just have to share what I learned. I got to learn how to do this really well. And so I think it's reasonable to promise that if I don't complete something, I tell you what I learned. That makes a lot of sense. So that's my mission. And I feel like open source feels like the way to go. I feel like trying to share my knowledge is extremely important. So I hope you'll consider supporting the mission. Think of it this way. You're not just supporting me. You're also supporting all of the people that might use this fantasy console or watch my videos or whatever the case may be. You're supporting them, right? I'm just doing this because it seems like that's the only thing I could do right now. And I'm just leaning into that, to be completely honest. And I wish that wasn't the case. I wish I could just get a regular job and just work, but it's not working for me right now. And if this is working, then, I just got to figure out how to make money doing this. And I'm hoping that you'll consider helping me with that. Because I don't know what else to do, to be honest. I don't know what else to do. So right now, ongoing monthly donations make the biggest difference. I understand if you want to hedge a little bit with maybe I don't finish things or whatever, and you just want to do a one-time donation. All right, I understand. But if you would consider doing like monthly things, that would be awesome. And I'll try and be transparent about how much I'm getting, so then okay, well, I should probably give this much or that much or whatever. And yeah, I'll try my best to keep everyone informed of progress and what I'm up to, and if it's looking like I'll finish it. But I don't want to spend a lot of time and effort on that instead of actually finishing it. And I'm hoping that this project is going to be low enough bar that I can finish it in a timely manner, and then it's not really an issue, but we'll see. So yeah, thank you. I really do mean that. Thank you enormously for even just considering this. Yeah, I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the world, and yeah, I know. So I hope you have a wonder-filled day, and there's information in the description about various different options for supporting my mission. And if you have any questions, or you just want to talk to me before you even consider supporting this, just join on Discord. That's probably your best bet. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Bye.